Today I'm super excited. I'm going to be checking out the International Museum of Photography. So excited for that. You don't know how long I have waited to check out this particular museum. It's going to be freaking amazing. And I'm going to be having some interviews, possibly discussing the two main exhibits they have going on in there. So I know it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm super excited to hear your guys' feedback. So stay tuned. Hey guys, I am here with Tom today, and he's going to be answering some questions, general questions I have about museums. So first question is, what's the first word you hear, or first thought that comes to mind when you hear the word museum?
When I hear the word museum, I think of really big artifacts.
Okay.
And just like a bunch of knowledge and history.
Awesome. Do you think people can learn from that? Why or why not?
I think you can definitely learn from that, and that's also a way of it, like, toggling into your mind and actually like expanding. People don't go out there and try to learn as much as they possibly can. You don't know if you might find something you really like, or like it could be a career change.
Yeah, exactly. Why do you think museums are like so stereotyped? Like, why do you think a lot of people think badly of them or think they're uninteresting or whatever?
Stereotype. Honestly, people have other things they're more interested in. Like, let's say they don't have the time to actually like learn about other people. They're more in their box and want to like work on their own things. And some people don't have the time.
Okay. And what do you think people can like take from going to a museum?
You can take everything from going to a museum. I don't know how to answer that properly, actually.
Okay.
But yeah, nah.
All right. Well, thanks. It was great getting your input on all this. Wow. So I would just say that was pretty insightful to hear what Tom, random guy in Union Square Park, had to say about museums. I think there's a lot of people out there that have a lot of insight when it comes to museums, and just being open-minded and checking it out and stuff like that. So it was honestly really refreshing to hear that someone had the same sort of views as me, and that I wasn't the only kind of psycho out there who was oh my gosh, I'm so obsessed with museums, their life. It is really cool to hear that there are other people out there that have that similar mindset about museums and that are very open-minded about checking them out. So honestly, I think we need a healthy balance of people that are going to be open-minded and excited about checking them out, and then other people that, they need a little more pushing. They need to just go out there and be open-minded about it. So yeah, I find that super refreshing. And hopefully, we can find more people out there. And now for the actual adventure. So this time I'm going to be taking you guys to the museum. Kind of leading you through the subway system, helping you guys maneuver, and hopefully not getting myself lost in the process while I'm doing this. Alright, so for those of you that are near the 14th Street Union Station, that's where I decided to kind of embark on this. So I took the downtown 6 train to Bleecker, which was about 2 stops, and then I had a great 10 to 15 minute walk to the museum. So if you're lucky enough to live kind of within that proximity, 2 stops and you're there, and it's perfect. For those of you that of course don't live within that location, need an alternate route, you'd be taking the B, the D, the F, and the M to Broadway Lafayette, then transferring to 2nd Ave and having that same, I'd say roughly, depending what train you're on, it could be 10 to 20 minutes walk to 250 Bowery Street, which is where this museum is located. And of course, hours of operation, like any museum, I would say, the hours are really freaking flexible for the most part. Tuesday through Wednesday, they're open 10 to 6. Thursday is their longest day, open from 10 to 9, and then it resumes back Friday through Sunday again, 10 to 6. And honestly, that's what I love about these museums, is that they're open at great reasonable hours. And you never really have to worry too much about them being closed for some ridiculous amount of time. Also, admissions, adults are going to be $14, seniors are $12, and then students are a good old $10. That is as long as you bring your student ID with you. Museums unfortunately have this whole policy where you can't just walk in and claim you're a student because you look like a student. You actually have to have physical proof of being a student. Which I guess when you think about it makes sense, but still kind of annoying. But you do have that $10 benefit waiting for you. And of course on Thursdays, there is a fantastic Pay What You Wish program, which personally is one of my favorites. And to be honest, let's be honest, that is usually one of the only days I will go to museums, because if you're like me, and you are a broke, starving college student, you kind of need all the help and all the funds you can get. And as you guys can see, the walk leading from the last stop from 14th Street to the museum is absolutely freaking beautiful. Honestly, personally, I am someone that loves walks. But the fact that it's only, like I said, 10 to 15 minutes, it's a breezer. You get to take in the great architecture, like this beautiful mural on the right-hand side, and just enjoy New York. And as I was saying, that's going to bring us right to the International Center of Photography. So I can't wait for you guys to check it out. Alright, so for the very first exhibit that I got to visit, it was the incarceration of Japanese Americans during World War II display. So as you can already imagine, this was extremely heartfelt and really heavy on the minds and hearts of basically every single individual that went into this exhibit, including me. This one was really, really eye-opening, and really made me very happy that I got the chance to explore this. Had no idea it was going to be there either. So this exhibit showcases a horrible incident that took place about 76 years ago when the US government incarcerated 120,000 American citizens and legal residents of Japanese ancestry. And get this, this was without following any sort of process, any sort of constitutional protection that these Japanese Americans should have been given as citizens of the US, and at least for the sake of living here and working the ground for our government, because most of them were farmers during that time. And so this took place shortly after the bombing of Pearl Harbor and the US entering World War II. So yeah, right before the US entered World War II, President Franklin put out some order. It was called the 9066 order into action. And this just gets me so upset. So this order was put into motion, and it basically forced the removal and imprisonment of all people of Japanese ancestry living on the West Coast. And despite any sort of evidence proving that those outside of the bombing were responsible, basically the loyalties of all of these people and their families were questioned, and they were put into concentration camps. So this took place from 1942 until 1946. This was another incredible exhibit. Let me tell you guys, this exhibit really, really opened my eyes to a lot of the political events that have, been going on, continue to go on in our nation and in nations abroad that affect us, that kind of indirectly affect us, and was just honestly very eye-opening to a lot of what has gone on in our nation's past, as far as relating with like terrorist attacks. And other things that kind of like indirectly affected us. It was also very inspiring because there was a British photographer named Edmund Clark who spent 10 years exploring different elements of power and control used in the global war on terror, the international military and intelligence campaign, and that which was led by the United States and its allies against the Al-Qaeda and Taliban after the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks. And you can see a lot of the elements of power and control that he has in his pictures and in some of the work that he uses. And he has 8 different projects. He explores the action taken by the United States to protect its citizens from any sorts of international terrorism, and his work has become an important archive of processes, sites, people, and experiences associated with America's response. Guys, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on this journey. For those of you that watched towards the end, y'all are the real MVPs. Yeah, just thank you so much for coming along with me and embarking on this journey of discovering new museums, new artifacts, and just, you know, inspirational things. Yeah, I just thank you guys for that. And if you want to see more videos like this where I ramble on about my passion and show new discoveries, definitely subscribe. You know, you're going to click on that little bell and stay tuned for a new video each week.